A woman for all seasons, a woman for today, she stands to meet all the challenges and grows along the way. Her life is not an easy one, with many loads to bear, but she proudly serves her husband and the uniform he wears. Although she didn't take the oath to preserve democracy, she's there each day on the home front to keep our country free. She's foreign born or a country girl, diversity you will find, but to be an army wife, it takes a special kind. She's one who keeps on going through adversity and pain. She's the steady, strong foundation when nothing stays the same. She's the one who sheds a tear as Old Glory passes by, but couldn't give an answer if you were to ask her why. Throughout the years, she marches on through tears and joy and strife. She's America's unsung hero. She's a military wife.
My name is Jenna, and my husband Brandon is an E4 corporal in the Army. This is his first deployment, and he has been gone for almost 2 months.
My name is Amy Schuster, and I am engaged to Private Benjamin Kubik. He is in the Army, and he is currently deployed on his first deployment to Iraq, and we're expecting him home sometime in December or February or April of next year.
Hi, my name is Victoria. My husband, his name is Brennan. He is a PV2 with the U.S. Army. He is currently deployed to Iraq. He has been there for almost 3 months now, so not far too into it. This is our first deployment. Brennan and I got together 2 years ago. We just got married a few months before his deployment, and we're at our first duty station. It's been quite an adjustment for me. I mean, we're so young. We're both 19. He'll be 20 soon, but we married fresh out of basic and came straight here, and it was a bit of a bittersweet kind of moment. He enlisted after we've been dating for a year because it was just so hard. We're from Oregon, and it was so hard to find a job that he just gave up.
Brandon enlisted almost exactly a year after we started dating. We started dating on January 9th, 2009, and he left for basic training on January 6th, 2010. He has his degree in criminal psychology from Springfield College, but he hasn't really done anything with it. While he was working on a potato farm in our hometown, he was not very happy with himself. Coming from a military family myself, I suggested that he consider the military. We talked to both the Navy and the Army, and he ended up liking the Army better because there were more options, more adventure, etc. We talked with a recruiter who is now one of both mine and Brandon's good friends, and he is currently serving in Afghanistan as well. And Brandon was gone in less than 3 months. It is hands down the best decision we have ever made. We made it together, and that's one thing I'm very proud of.
Ben actually, he went to the recruiter about 3 weeks before we met, and that's when he signed up and decided that he wanted to get the process rolling with joining the military. 3 weeks later we meet, and it was kind of one of those things where I was like, I do not want to have anything to do with you. You're leaving for 4 months to boot camp, and I didn't think there was anything there. Well, turns out there was something there. So yes, he did enlist before we met, but by the time he got shipped out to basic training, and by the time he went through AIT and all that stuff, we were together. So we were together for the full 4 months that he was gone.
I'm not currently working. I'm looking for work until school starts in the fall because I didn't want to start in the middle of the school year, and so I'm waiting for that. But his leave is sometime this summer, hopefully. I had to see his schedules back and forth all the time. What he does, he's a combat engineer. He's a driver of the Buffaloes, and they do route clearances.
I work 2 to 3 days a week, and I go to school full time, and those two things really just keep me busy. And when I'm not doing those two things, I'm usually trying to Skype with Ben, or I'm waiting on a phone call from him. But I would say the majority of my time is taken up with school and work, and I go up to Fort Collins as much as I can, where a bunch of my friends live, and I hang out with them, so they've been really supportive and really helpful through this whole thing. But yeah, school is kicking my butt, so that's definitely keeping me busy enough.
I'm a certified therapeutic recreation specialist, and I work with the elderly. When I am not working, I spend a lot of time with my close family and friends. My sister-in-law and I have become really close since Brandon enlisted, and her 2 children are 2 of my biggest joys in life. I love spending time with family and friends and surrounding myself with positive people. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with our dog Bailey, who is a 1-year-old female Shih Tzu, and she definitely keeps me on my toes. When I'm not working or with my family or my friends, I'm at the gym. We talk fairly frequently, knock on wood. We use Facebook mostly, but at times he can call. They're on a combat outpost, which is less equipped, so time on a computer and a phone is very limited, unlike a forward operating base.
He's able to get online every day, and I'm able, sometimes he has hours, sometimes he has a half hour. He started out in Kuwait, and that was very limited communication.
So when it comes to over communication, I've heard a lot of horror stories about women who, just want to talk to their husband who's deployed, as much as they can, and it turns into a very stressful situation and a very stressful time to try and communicate with one another, just because, things get repetitive and the conversations just, they become repetitive and there's nothing else to talk about, and, both people in both situations are just really stressed about things. So I've heard that, talking with your significant other can really, every day can kind of be a burden on the relationship. However, my relationship has been lucky enough to not experience that yet. And because when he was in basic training in AIT for 4 months, the only thing we were able to do was write letters. And as you can see, 4 months worth of letters is a lot of letters. But this is by no means over communication, just because I hold these near and dear to my heart. And when we weren't writing letters, he would give me a phone call every Sunday for about 20 minutes if I was lucky and if he was good that week. And now while he's deployed, we are lucky enough to be able to Skype every day. And so that honestly hasn't become an issue at all. We're still finding new things to talk about every day, and we're still laughing with each other every day, and I think that's really important. And we haven't felt the strain of it yet, but I'm sure sooner or later that might come up, but for now we've been doing it.
We take what we can get, but when we do talk, it's usually the same things over and over again. Sometimes I feel like I'm pushing when I ask too many questions. I don't feel as if I put strain on our relationship, but I may ask too many questions or poke and prod too much. Brandon tells me to relax and to let things happen. I'm just a very detail-oriented person.
At one point, we felt like we over-talked because he was online so much, because there's like nothing going on of what he's doing, and so we talked a lot, but then my mom came to visit, and I wasn't able to talk to him, and I wasn't available for him all the time, and it did cause some problems with us, but we've gotten a lot better. It's not really expecting the worst, it's preparing for the worst and hoping for the best.
So the hardest part about deployment for me was honestly saying goodbye at the airport. To this day, that remains one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, just knowing that when we walked away from each other, that had the potential to be the very last time we even saw each other ever again, and that's kind of a hard thing to wrap your mind around. And I remember I was sitting in the airport in Austin, and it was just, I was like physically ill. Like I physically couldn't get out of my seat to walk away from him, and it was just one of the most heart-wrenching experiences I've ever been through. And then actually while he was deployed, one of the hardest things that we've been through is if there's a killed in action that day, the entire base goes blackout so that no one can contact family members or anyone else of the fallen soldier. And so they go blackout until the family is notified. And the very first time a blackout happened, I just remember calling up a couple of the other wives and asking them if they have heard from their husbands, and you automatically know right away that if they haven't heard from their husbands in, X amount of hours, so something's up. And that first blackout was pretty awful. I think it ended up being about 36 hours, and that doesn't seem like a really long time, and it's really not, but when you don't have contact with someone that is 7,000 miles away that could potentially be in a lot of danger, that's a long time. And I didn't get much sleep during that time, and I remember hearing the little Skype phone call ring pretty early one morning, and I freaked out. I jumped out of bed and made sure it was Ben, and after that everything was okay, and he made me feel a lot better about everything. But that first blackout was definitely one of the scariest times during deployment.
It's giving both of us a chance to grow even more. When we said goodbye for basic training, I cried and he didn't. He didn't cry in front of me, but he said he did. And for deployment, he started crying before I even got up to him, and he made me go home. He said it was getting too hard and that I needed to leave.
Military OneSource is a service support group for all military wives that is provided by the Department of Defense. Military OneSource is a free service where the wives are able to call to find childcare, meet with a psychiatrist, have services done around the house, and really anything the wife needs help with. Military OneSource consultants can be contacted by phone or email at all times. The Military Spouse Career Advancement Accounts Program is an employment assistance program that provides up to $4,000 of financial assistance to eligible military spouses who are pursuing a license, certification, or associate's degree in a portable career field and occupation. This program is flexible throughout the United States. Other Army Wife support groups can be found on Facebook and other social networks as well. These groups include Dear Deployment, I Hate You, Happily Married to the Military, and Army Wife Network.
So one really positive thing about this whole deployment is that every single time that Ben calls, whether it's Skype, on the phone, or even like an instant message to my cell phone, no matter what it is, without fail, I still get butterflies every time I see his name pop up. And I don't think that's ever going to go away when you're so in love with someone and you spend, a year apart from each other. Those butterflies are always still going to be there. And I know a lot of other wives feel the same exact way that I do, that it's like when they get home, it's like you go on your first date again and you get your first kiss again and stuff, and it's really an exciting part about it. And one of my other favorite positive things about deployment is sending care packages, and I'm pretty sure I have care package OCD because every week I'm at Walmart grabbing just as much food and junk food and non-perishable food that I can, and I sit there in my room with my little APO boxes and I fill them all the way up so that they're really full, and I put a bunch of surprises and candy and cute little things in there, and my sister helps me a lot with those. And it's just honestly I'd rather shop for those than shop for myself at this point. I know that's nuts because it is, but it's just one of those little things that keeps me going, and I absolutely love putting together care packages for him because I just know that when he opens them up, it's like a little piece of home that's coming over to him, and it's really important to him, so it's become very important to me as well.